welcome back to the channel. And as Imogen Salter would say, the best lines are mostly true. That couldn't ring any more true with this latest drop of The Veil. Before I get into the details of episode 3, I do want to warn you there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode, consider this a warning. All right. Also, let me know what you think of episode 3, what you think of the season so far. Would love to know your thoughts. Be sure to drop your comments below. Episode 3 kind of starts off with a mysterious man. We last see him at the end of episode 2, and he's retrieving a note for him from Adila. She left a phone behind at the refugee camp that she was previously in. So that same man travels to the refugee camp to retrieve the phone. That same man also kills 2 aid workers before he is killed by another individual in with Adila. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but that was made evident through a really brief conversation over the phone with Adila. So apparently these two know each other. And so that is what happens with that exchange. It certainly seems that Adila is part of ISIS, but it feels as though something about her actions just goes a little bit more deeper than what we've actually seen thus far in the series. And honestly, this new individual that she is in contact with, he touches base with 3 other men in an abandoned Iraq hospital, giving them kind of like the green light to proceed ahead with the plan that they have. And as I started this video, the best lies are mostly true. So Adila and Imogen finally get to Paris. Adila is reunited with her daughter. So it's kind of interesting because in the episode, it seems like Adila obviously has secrets, right? So does Imogen. It seems like Imogen has even more secrets than Adila. So these two kind of, it seems as though they find some sort of, I don't know, common ground, maybe a bond between those two. They each need something from each other, right? So Adila needs protection for her daughter, and Imogen needs Adila to reveal what the plan is so that they can stop it. And you can see in the episode, Imogen is still trying to appeal to her humanity, as I stated in the last video of episode 2, basically saying, I just can't see how a person like you could be involved in ISIS and wanting to harm thousands of people. And again, just kind of a lot of things are revealed in this episode. And you see that in conversation between Imogen and Adila. The shapeshifter, again, that's a theme that's being dropped throughout the series. And at this point, it's kind of like, who's the better shapeshifter? Who's the better shapeshifter? Is it Adila or is it Imogen? And so I think Imogen is going to prove that she's the better shapeshifter in the situation. At its core, the show is about people and events not being as clear cut as they appear. There's a lot of misdirection on here, maybe even some that maybe we're not even realizing. There's proof of that at the end of the episode. I will stay here in a second, but Adila tells Imogen to meet her at Jim Morrison's gravesite. And so they meet up, and she actually takes her to her grandfather's grave. We find out that her grandfather was a revolutionary, and she hid a revolver in the back of the grave, and she pulls it out and points it at Imogen and asks her why she's helping her. She kind of wants to know what's her deal. Why is she involved? Why is she wanting to help her? And she wants the truth. And Imogen tells the story of her father being assassinated when she was young. He was a British diplomat. When she was 16, they were in Istanbul, where he was blown to pieces in a diplomatic car. Then she tells her that she was recruited by MI6. So the question is to me, is Imogen telling the truth, or is she lying? She's telling most of the truth or just some of the truth? And I think that's what's so interesting about this phrase that kind of rings really loudly with this episode, and that is that the best lines are mostly true. Certainly, Imogen has invested interest here, and it's more than just saving the lives of people. It's finding out who was behind her father's death. For Adila, is protecting her daughter. They're using each other for their own means. And I find it very interesting that Imogen is, towards the end of the episode, she meets up with Max at the very end of the episode. And we see this exchange with those two, and it's almost like as if they are familiar with each other and have been working with each other. And so it's just kind of, you're just kind of sitting there like, okay, what's going on here? And it's very clear, obviously, that Imogen is working with the Americans because they have more resources. She clearly is working with all of these agencies and helping each of the agency, but also leveraging the US for some information. And so she's like, I will do this for you if you give me some information about my father. And so Max agrees. And so hopefully we get to hear more about what really happened with her dad. When Imogen met up with Malik, he kind of hinted to him being worried about her being in Istanbul and, having memories being brought back because of what happened in Istanbul. And then we find out later what he was really referring to. My thoughts were it was, the situation with her dad. And it gets confirmed when Imogen talks to Adila about her dad. I don't know how much of that story is actually true, but for sure it's something that is gonna obviously carry through the entire series. The other thing I love about this show is that it proves that even spies want to be known, they want to be understood, they want to be seen, and that's all Imogen is wanting, I think, right now. She wants to be known. She wants to, I mean, she clearly wants to be honest. She's lived a life of lies, and she wants to be honest. And I think she finds that in this relationship with Adila, and it's an interesting exchange, and I find it very true. This is a solid season so far. I'm really excited about the next episode and what happens. Clearly, the target from what we see is America. So yeah, I'm really excited for episode 4. Episode 3 was a solid one. We got a couple things revealed. There's still a good amount of misdirection happening in the story, and there's a good amount of lies, but also some truth too. And so clearly, these two women are using each other for their own gain. So let me know what your thoughts are. I thought this was a solid episode, and we'll talk to you next week.